Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world, and welcome once again to an infrequent stream. Today I'm going to be offering my thoughts on Dragon's Dogma 2 while casually playing not the original game, but the Dark Arisen version of the original Dragon's Dogma game. So, yeah, I've got a lot to say about this. The reason why I'm doing it this way is because, again, I'm not, I really don't like Twitch. And I am playing Dragon's Dogma 2 on the Xbox Series X. And the Xbox only has a partnership with Twitch. So they don't have a YouTube option, which is really unfortunate because I really prefer YouTube to Twitch. I've just never been a fan of Twitch. I don't even have a Twitch account. I've never had a Twitch account. So with that being said, there are a lot of things that I really need to get off my chest here, and I'm hoping that you folks listen with an open mind. And again, if you don't agree with what I'm saying, I would hope that you would at least try to understand where I'm coming from. Because first and foremost, I think there has been way too much drama and backlash and unnecessary criticism surrounding the second iteration of Dragon's Dogma. And hopefully I can clear up some of it and make everybody feel a little bit more at ease about the game itself and about a lot of, practices in the gaming world that I think a lot of people are really super confused about. And they're more or less approaching these practices in a very emotional manner rather than actually thinking through it and trying to understand it. And I'm going to go off the cuff here, so I don't have a notebook next to me or anything like that, so bear with me. Hopefully I will not repeat a lot of things. I just want to be very concise. I'm going to attempt to be very concise and just try to communicate these thoughts in a way that's easily understandable. So first of all, I really need to discuss the microtransactions, okay, in the second game. Now, I don't care about microtransactions. I've never cared about microtransactions. They've never affected me in any way, shape, or form for as long as I've been playing video games. There was a point in time way back when they were first introduced that I was skeptical of microtransactions, and I wasn't certain as to how they would be employed in the future. Now, there have been instances where microtransactions have been used in ways that I do not agree with. And when that happens, for me, and I think this is the way it should happen for everybody out there, honestly, is that if you don't like the way microtransactions are being used in a game, in a specific game, then just don't buy the game. That's it. Or at the very least, buy the game if you like the the franchise, or you like the genre, or you like something about the game. Just play the game itself. Don't buy the microtransactions. That's it. It's really as simple as that. That's what I do. I just don't buy the games. I don't, and not only do I not buy the games, but I don't hop onto social media condemning the game for using something I don't agree with. The reason being is because likely there's something about that facet to the game that I don't understand. And it's simply my not understanding that facet, and my not understanding that facet can't be used as a cudgel to beat the game, or to beat up the game, or to attempt to sabotage the game for other people. Because I do know that there are other people out there that are very different from myself. And I don't think those people should be marginalized or condemned for utilizing something that I don't agree with. For instance, I think this is a really great comparison, and it's something I've been thinking about all morning. And I do apologize, I'm not really playing the game because honestly, what I really wanted to do is just get my thoughts out because I don't think that a lot of people are saying what I'm about to say. In fact, I don't think anybody is. So, a great way to look at microtransactions, in my opinion, is to compare it to going into a supermarket or a grocery store. Okay? So, in a supermarket and a grocery store, there are multiple levels to the things that you can buy. And they're all based on your ability to, your ability to use these materials to create a meal, for instance. So, a high-level cook walks into the grocery store and they look at the ingredients that they're going to use. So they go to the produce section, they go to the meat section, and they buy everything separately with plans to go home and cook it themselves. Okay? However, in a grocery store, you also have the option of buying prepared meals. So, for instance, I can either choose to make my own pizza by buying the ingredients myself, so buying the pepperoni, buying the sausage, buying the cheese, buying the dough for the pizza crust, and whatever else I need to put on my pizza. And I'm buying it all separately, and then I'm going to go home and I'm going to put it together myself and make my own pizza. However, you do also have the option to buy a pre-prepared pizza with all the toppings on it, everything's made, so all you got to do is go home, stick it in the oven, and you'll be able to eat in 15 to 20 minutes. Okay? And that's exactly what microtransactions are. Okay? They're simply offering the player a shortcut to something that makes the game easier for them. So if they don't like running across the map, endlessly looking for things to do, or if they don't have a lot of time on their hands to do that, if it's just a casual hobby and what they really want to see is they really want to see the end, or they really want to see how the story culminates, then I don't believe there's any reason we should condemn those people for using such things to get to that point. It's a very silly thing to condemn video games in general for employing microtransactions. So that is the best comparison that I think I can come up with as to why we really shouldn't be that emotionally bothered by these additions to the game. All right? And not only that, but I forget which developer brought it up, but they were also talking about how games have drastically changed over the last few decades. I mean, it's no surprise to anyone that back in the past there were no microtransactions, and mainly the reason why there weren't no microtransactions is because there was no way to employ them. We didn't live in an online world. You got the game you purchased, and that was it. If the game had a bug, or if the game, it was it. That's all. You bought the game, you took it home, you played it. That was it. There was no changing the game. There was no updating the game. There was no adding, storylines to the game. None of that existed. You just had the game. But as video games have progressed and have evolved, and absolutely, I believe video games have evolved. They have not de-evolved. They have evolved to a miraculous level of complexity, of design. I mean, the games now completely overshadow the games of the past in terms of what you're able to do within a game, how you're able to approach a game, how you can actually, play a game in different ways than as intended. I mean, back in the past, you played a game one way. It was like in Super Mario, you went right, and you got to the end of the level, and that's all you could do. You couldn't, move. You couldn't. You couldn't go down a different path. But in games now, there are so many different paths that you can take, and not only that, but the games are almost never ending. Like, there are multiple updates that are applied to games. There's DLC. There are in many ways, games that employ live service techniques, which make the game endlessly playable. In my opinion, that's great, because what it does is it gives the person who enjoys that genre, or who enjoys that title, or who really enjoys that game, the ability to just consistently play it for as long as they want, and turn it into more of a hobby rather than just a singular experience. And also, you have to bear in mind that games cost so much more money to make. I mean, we're talking, millions of dollars, sometimes billions of dollars in some cases. And there was one developer that came out and said something about this. And again, I apologize, I forgot the name of this developer. I believe it was a Japanese developer who said that really what these microtransactions are is they're just employed to add another dimension of making money for that developer or for that company, and that, in my opinion, is not a bad thing. It's a good thing, because a lot of people forget that there are a lot of people involved in making these games. Huge buildings filled with hundreds to thousands of people, and all of those people have families. All of those people have, they have rent to pay, they have food to buy, just like you. They have expenses, and the more money a game company can make for those people, the better those people are provided for, and that is, again, not a negative thing. And also, being a lover of video games, I mean a true lover of video games, I don't see anything wrong with the video game industry making more money, because if they make more money, they're able to make better games. They make better games, they make more money, they're able to employ new ideas, new tactics, new techniques, they're able to develop new engines, they're able to develop, they're just able to, the sky's the limit, essentially. The more money they make, the better these games will be. And that's all I've been seeing over the past, 4 decades of my life, is games have been doing nothing but progressing. Sure, there are games out there that are just really, that aren't really games, and I realize that, and I don't agree with their tactics. There are games out there that employ pay-to-win tactics, and I don't agree with that. I don't like that, and I don't play those games at all. I don't ever play a game that's pay-to-win. I think microtransactions utilized in a competitive environment in a game is incredibly detrimental to the players of that game, and I won't even give it the time of day. I just stay away from it, and I completely stay away from it. So I won't go on to social media again, and I won't condemn those games for utilizing those practices. I just simply won't play it. The game won't live in my head. It won't influence my day-to-day life. It just doesn't exist. And I won't even mention what some of those games are, but most of them are, games that you get on your phone. A lot of mobile games employ a lot of pay-to-win tactics. But honestly, I don't even view a lot of those games as actually being, authentic games. Now, I'm not going to condemn the people that play those games. If those people want to do that, that's fine. It's just like, again, going back to the grocery store analogy, if somebody wants to buy a pre-prepared meal and cook it at home in 10 minutes because they don't have the time to cook, I'm not going to laugh at them. I'm not going to make them feel bad because they don't have any culinary skills themselves to cook the meal. I'm just they can do that. They can do whatever they want. It's their life. It's their decision. It's their money. Okay? And I'm never going to tell anyone how to spend their money. That's just silly. Okay, so I think I might have gotten through all of my thoughts on microtransactions. I can't think of anything else about it. Oh, in terms of the Dragon's Dogma 2 microtransactions, again, I think they are just placed there for people who don't have as much time as a hardcore gamer might have to play these games. They have a family, they have things to take care of, they just want to enjoy the storyline, enjoy the basic experience of the game. They're not there to explore, they're not there to make a build, they're not there for any of that. They just want to experience the story, experience the world for a few hours, and then move on to something else. And if they want to buy things that'll make that experience quicker to achieve, then I see no fault in that at all. I really don't. And again, you have the choice. You don't have to buy those things. You can play the game as originally intended, which I'm doing, which I always do, so it doesn't affect me in the least. And not only that, but the microtransactions are set up in such a way on the second game where you don't even know they exist. You have to seek them out. So they don't flash the microtransact. Excuse me. They don't flash the microtransactions on the start screen or in a in a lobby menu or anything like that. You kind of have to look for them. So if you didn't know they didn't exist, then you wouldn't know they existed, because there's just no indication that you can do that in the actual game itself. And not only that, but everything that's offered in the microtransaction shop, everything that's offered. I know there are a lot of streamers out there who are saying that you can't get the Explorer's Kit, which is a camping kit in the second game, and you can't get the pendant any other way but through the microtransactions. And that is completely false. Okay? I've purchased at least 2 Explorer's Kits, which are great to have because you can use them multiple times. They don't, they're not a one-use thing. I forget how many times you can use them, but you can use them multiple times. And again, the pendants are available as well in certain shops in the game. So I really have to fault the streamers for probably blasting through the game, which they like to do. They just like to blast through the game, and if they don't see it, it doesn't exist. Well, it's not true. Explorer's Kit, the pendant, they can both be purchased in the game. And again, with using gold in the game, like everything else that you buy. So again, you're not achieving any kind of advantage by buying the microtransactions or not buying the microtransactions. The only thing you're doing is you're just creating a little bit more of a fluid experience or a quicker experience if you buy those transactions. So I think that's all I've got to say regarding the microtransactions in Dragon's Dogma 2. To put it in good, in the best terms possible for the modern audience, it is a huge nothing burger. Like all microtransactions, in my opinion. To adapt an extremist stance on something like this is just it's kind of depressing. I don't think I'd want to live in the mind of someone who is so willing to devote so much emotional energy and so much politically charged energy into something that is just simply a choice. It's just an additional choice. And I believe people should have more choices. I don't believe people should have less choices. And if games are going to give us more choices and they're going to apply a price tag to that, I see no problem with that. Again, it's making money for the people that make the games, and then it's also allowing them to not only survive in this world and have a decent life, but they're able to employ innovations to this medium via the engines that they create and the things that they do. So again, I am in total support of microtransactions when used in that manner. But again, I'm completely against pay-to-win microtransactions personally. Okay? Doesn't mean I don't think they shouldn't exist. I just don't use them myself. All right. So to move on, regarding the performance issues in Dragon's Dogma 2, again, I believe this is an issue that's been completely conflated to a very absurd degree. First and foremost, what I've noticed is that I've watched a lot of streamers. There are a lot of people streaming this game, and there are a lot of people streaming this game on PC. And though I do not watch all of their streams because I do not want the game to be spoiled for myself, if I watch a stream, I usually watch the first, hour of their beginning playthrough. So I don't want anything to be ruined. However, that can be a little bit of a, that can be a little difficult too, because again, Dragon's Dogma 2 is a game that is going to be different for everybody that plays it, and sometimes these streamers will wander into an area that I've never been right away in the game, so I immediately turn it off and I just ignore it. However, one thing I've noticed is that everyone's complaining about the performance. Yet, I have not noticed in any of these streaming experiences any of these streamers experiencing these performance issues. None of them. None of them have experienced anything that I would that I would qualify as a performance issue. So my first feeling regarding these gripes, these complaints, these emotionally charged review bombs on this game is that nobody, as of yet, as far as I know, has even shown us an example of any of these performance issues. Everyone that mentions the performance issues, they show screenshots of their game as they're playing, and the game looks fantastic. In fact, I can even attest for myself, playing on the Xbox Series X, that I have not encountered any performance issues at all. The only time that I experienced anything close to a performance issue, and again, I wouldn't even qualify it as a performance issue, is when my pawn got stuck in some rocks. Now that, to me, is a glitch. It's a bug. That's all it is. All games have glitches. All games have bugs. At some point, you're going to encounter something that's going to briefly ruin your game until you figure out a solution for it by either restarting your game or by doing something else. Thankfully, that bug that occurred in Dragon's Dogma 2 for me was it solved itself. I just had to walk further away from my pawn, just continue on my merry way, and eventually my pawn removed herself from that rock and eventually joined me. So I really think a lot of these gripes, these complaints, these, again, review bombs on the performance of Dragon's Dogma 2, I mean, I gotta be honest, it's probably coming from folks who do not have the best PCs. They probably do not have the best laptops or the best whatever. They don't have the requirements necessary to play the game, and that's what's hindering the game experience for them. Also, I'm sorry, but I think a lot of these people probably have programs or software on their computers that aren't legal, that are, either cheat software or pirated software, or they're using an emulation. They use emulation software, something that's not completely 100% illegal. And I think legal. And what I'm thinking is that the Denuvo, the anti-piracy, anti-cheat software that's been included within Dragon's Dogma 2, is somehow probably detecting those things on their system, and it's making their game act in weird ways. That's all I can come to, is that there's got to be something going on these individual PCs that's affecting their performance. It's not the game itself, it's something involving their own PC. Because again, I've seen a lot of people say that they're having no problems on their PC. I even encountered a person in a chat that said they were using an old laptop from 2018 and it was working just fine on their laptop. I think it's more or less I think what's happening here is you have the honest gamers who, they just honestly play games. They buy their games. They don't purchase any kind of software that would augment or change their games, or they're not downloading any software that would allow them to, watch movies for free online or whatever it is. Those people aren't having problems. I think the only people having problems on their PCs are people who support piracy, for the most part, or people who do not have the specs to actually run the game on their PC. Because again, Series X, zero problems. And I've also noticed a lot of people who are playing the game on their PS5s, they have zero problems with performance. So, yeah, I think a lot of these criticisms, a lot of these complaints are coming from a very dishonest place. And I think a lot of things need to be cleared up. And I think if these things are cleared up, I think a lot of people would be a little bit more inclined to be a little bit more positive about games in general. There are a few other things that I'd like to bring up that are a little bit of a little bit contentious for myself as well. I think the biggest thing for me is multiple save slots. Now, if you're a follower of Dragon's Dogma and you're a follower of the development lore of this game, you will know that the creator, and again, I forget his name, I do apologize, I forget his name, but he initially said that his vision wasn't fully realized with the first iteration. Like, there was something about the vision that they couldn't fully realize because of the tech at that time. And now with Dragon's Dogma 2, he's able to fully realize his vision of what he wanted to make in terms of an RPG. And I think one of those visions, and again, this is only my opinion, I'm not sure this is actually part of his vision, but I think part of his vision was creating a game where your choices actually did matter. I mean, really mattered. And I think in the way that they made the second game where you can only have one save slot, that reinforces the concept that your choices matter. Because what you can't do in Dragon's Dogma 2 is you can't save scum. Meaning you can't save the game when you feel like there's a very important decision to be made in the game. Make that decision, and then if you don't like your decision, go back to your previous save and then make a different decision. No, you actually have to live with your decisions in the game. And I find it a little odd that people are complaining about this, because for the longest time, that's all I could read in comment sections was, we need to make these games more meaningful, the choices more meaningful, more impactful. We need the choices to actually affect the gameplay, to change the worlds around us in a way that that's meaningful. So to rally against a game mechanic that actually provides that is just a little bizarre to me. And it turns out that Dragon's Dogma, or the developers, are bending the knee a little bit to these folks by creating, they're going to be offering more save slots for the Steam version of the game. Now, I totally disagree with that. I think it's preposterous that they even consider changing the game to placate these people who don't really understand the mechanic of the original game. So it's a little odd to me, but I can see their viewpoint. They don't want to lose these people. They want to be able to, have more people playing the game, so that's why they're utilizing this change. Not only that, but I think when you have multiple save slots in a game such as Dragon's Dogma, I think what we're going to probably see as a result of this, maybe not on PC, maybe not on console, and I'm not sure if this game is cross-platform. If it is, though, it's going to ruin the experience for everyone playing the game, because what we're going to find is that most people, when given the option to create multiple save slots, will abandon a number of their save slots, and they won't delete them. They'll just move on to a different save slot, a different, I don't know, they're looking for some kind of build, whatever they're looking for, they're just simply going to abandon the previous save slots, and what that is going to result in, and again, this is my opinion, I'm not sure if this could actually happen, but it seems as if it could, is that it will create a deluge of abandoned pawns that will just fill up the servers and will never be leveled up. They'll just sit there, and I'm not sure how that's going to affect the game. To be honest, I think it'll affect the game in a negative way. I don't see anything positive coming from that. And not only that, but you don't need multiple save slots in a game like Dragon's Dogma, because the cool thing about the game is that you can explore all the builds, all the vocations, in your initial playthrough. You can change your build whenever you want in your playthrough. You don't need to create another character to experience any of these builds. They're all available to use on that one save slot. And not only that, if you're not happy with some of the decisions that you've made in your initial playthrough of the campaign, once you've gotten through the campaign, which I believe is incredibly short, like most of these games, you could probably get through it in about 20 to 30 hours. Once you get through that initial campaign, there is a new game plus, so you can play through the campaign again and make different decisions if that's really what you want to see, if that's really what you want to experience. If you want to experience the world in a different way, you can do that with New Game Plus. So I'm not sure, these complaints to me feel very hollow. It feels like they're based on just an ignorance of the game's mechanics, and people aren't really thinking through how these mechanics are employed in the game, and they're also refusing to see the creator's vision and to maybe look at the game from a different perspective. So, overall, I think all the complaints regarding this game are completely unfounded and coming from a world of ignorance and a world of emotion and a world of activism. And I really hope that a lot of that starts to die down a little bit. It's becoming very stressful to even go into the community online and talk about these games, because there is such an extremist viewpoint. You either have to be extremely on one side or extremely on the other, and that goes for everything in this world right now, and I think it's hurting everything. I think we need to take a little bit more of a middle road approach to our criticisms regarding everything in this world. We need to see both sides, and we need to understand both sides before we can actually form a rational judgment. And I think that if we start doing that more, we start looking at both sides, and we start being not so quick to condemn, simply based off of our own emotional feelings about something, I think it's going to improve the community in many ways. So, yeah, I didn't play any Dragon's Dogma. I do apologize for that. I just wanted to get my thoughts out on this. And yeah, hopefully folks feel the same way I do. I think it would it would kind of calm everything down a little bit, because I think everyone's getting a little too excited about what's going on in gaming these days, and they're not really looking at all of these things in a rational manner. That being said, I think I'm going to go ahead and just call it right now. I don't think I have anything else I can think about talking about regarding Dragon's Dogma 2. I'm gonna go back to playing it, guys. That's why I'm not streaming as of late, is I've been playing Dragon's Dogma 2 a lot. I've been playing MLB The Show 24 a lot. That's free on Game Pass. So that's what I've been doing. Hopefully I'll come back when... actually, I was thinking of maybe playing Marvel's Midnight Suns. That seems like a cool game. So maybe I'll come back and play that, or I'll come back and play some more Elder Scrolls Online. Whatever. I'll come back probably in maybe a week, and we'll see about streaming again. But again, I just wanted to get this off my chest, get my thoughts out there, and hopefully they are well received. Again, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Thanks for tuning in. I hope you have a wonderful day. Take care.